Hello there, everyone. So numbers look like they're starting to stabilize. So we're going to crack on and get started with the webinar. So firstly, just a big welcome to everybody to this webinar on generative AI in business. Firstly, we wanted to thank you all for showing interest in this course and for taking the time to attend this online session. This webinar is all about you and how this course can help you enhance your career and amplify your skills. It's important to highlight that today we have gathered professionals interested in generative AI from all over the world, including those invited by our partner, Edureka. So thank you all for attending and welcome once again. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. This webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email. You have all joined in listen-only mode. However, you do have the opportunity to submit questions by typing to the Q&A panel on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Should you experience any technical difficulties, please let us know in the Q&A box, and a member of the team will endeavour to help you. In the unlikely event we experience any issues, we will send out a message and restart the webinar. The presentation should last around 45 minutes and we'll answer any questions submitted at the end. At the end of the webinar, please do take a couple of moments also to complete a short survey where you can raise any further questions or feedback. So the objective of today, we'd really like you to leave here today informed, excited, and with complete insight into what your generative AI in business learning experience will be. So these are our agenda points. Firstly, we will introduce you to the course, provide an overview of the content and structure. We will then discuss the relevance of the course to you and your career, explore your online learning experience, and then at the end, answer any questions you have and discuss the potential of next steps to join the course. So the University of Cambridge Online, why are we different? Well, to begin with, all courses are developed and led by Cambridge academics. They are quality assessed by the Online Education Committee consisting of senior Cambridge professors. We offer weekly webinars with our course academics. These interactive sessions allow for direct contact with our course leads, in this case with Professor Per Ola Kristensson. We provide specialist tutor support with a low ratio of learners to tutors. We have a world-class learning management system that provides the best learning experience. And upon successful completion, you'll receive a University of Cambridge online certificate. We'll get to see an example of this in just a minute. Our learners are from more than 60 countries globally, offering the opportunity to network with professionals around the world. Finally, we've also received highly positive learner feedback. 98% of learners across 16 courses in the January 24 cohort rated their course good or excellent. As mentioned earlier, upon completion, learners will earn a certificate of achievement directly from the University of Cambridge Online and signed directly from the Pro Vice Chancellor. You can post this on your social profile or list it on your CV or resume. Now an opportunity to introduce today's panel. First of all is myself. My name is Philip Parent and I'm an enrollment advisor here at Cambridge Advance Online. We also have Professor Per Ola Kristensson, our academic lead for the Generative AI and Business course, and Madeline Thorne, Senior Learning Designer at Cambridge Advance Online. I'm now going to hand over to Professor Per Ola, our course lead, to introduce himself and the course.
Thank you, Philip. And I'm one of the academic leads for this course. My name is Per Ola Kristensson. I'm a professor of interactive systems engineering in the Department of Engineering at the University of Cambridge. In Cambridge, I lead the Intelligent Interactive Systems group. We used to be part of what's called Engineering Design Center, but recently moved to the Information Engineering Division, which mainly focuses on applying AI to engineering problems. I'm also a co-founder and a co-director of the Center for Human-Inspired Artificial Intelligence at the University of Cambridge, which is a cross-disciplinary and cross-faculty research institute in the university focusing on understanding how to best apply AI for human good. I am personally interested in designing intelligent interactive systems that enable people to be more creative, expressive, and satisfied in their daily lives. My PhD thesis was on so-called gesture keyboard technology, which I co-invented together with my PhD supervisor in 2001, 2002, so a long time ago now. In 2007, I co-founded ShapeWriter Incorporated to commercialize this technology, and I served as its director of engineering until this company was successfully acquired by Nuance Communications in 2010. Our ShapeWriter app was selected as the 8th best iPhone application by Time magazine in 2008. and won a Google Android ADC 50 Developer Award in the same year. Today, so-called gesture keyboard technology, also known as swipe and gesture typing, is a ubiquitous mobile text enter method available in most mobile phones and tablets on the market, and approximately 10% of all mobile phone users use this this technology to communicate by text every day. In 2013, I was recognized as an innovator under 35, the so-called TR35 award by MIT Technology Review, and appointed a member of the Royal Society of Edinburgh Young Academy of Scotland. In 2014, I won the Association for Computing Machinery, User Interface Software and Technology Lasting Impact Award for my work on gesture typing. And I also won the Royal Society of Edinburgh Early Career Prize in Physical Sciences in the same year. In this course, I will lead the first and the last module. I'm very excited about this course, as I think generative AI has fantastic potential, and it would be great to enable learners and organizations to make the most out of AI. I will be explaining about the foundations of AI. So what do we actually mean by artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence? And at the high level, how does it actually work? And together, we will also explore the future of generative AI. In this course, I will be joined by two other course leads along myself. Jonathan Cullen, who is a professor of sustainable engineering in the Department of Engineering at the University of Cambridge, and he will teach modules 4 and 5, and Henry Eiger, a global advisor on generative AI and deep fakes, and he will teach modules 2 and 3. With this course, I hope that learners have a positive experience and the feeling that they can indeed change the future for the better. Businesses worldwide are looking to leverage the power of generative AI to optimize processes and identifying new opportunities and better ways of achieving their work. And my expectation is that you will walk away from this course feeling empowered to do the same. Now, let's have an overview of the course. In the Generative AI business course, we will learn the high-level principles, benefits, and risks of generative AI, and how to strategically integrate generative AI into diverse business contexts. Some of the main course outcomes are the following three. To explain the difference between generative AI, large language models, so-called LLMs, machine learning, neural networks, and other related concepts, and apply your understanding to your business to identify potential use cases that are viable in your business context. Another main outcome is to identify and evaluate risks surrounded by the use of AI in a business context. And a third course outcome is to design a people-centered process for the application of generative AI in an organization. In my experience, we have to design centered around people to successfully enact change in an organization. Now, let's have a quick poll so we can see how familiar you are with the subject matter of the course. Please choose if you are extremely familiar, somewhat familiar, moderately familiar, very familiar, or extremely familiar with the topic. Just choose the option that describes you the best. It looks like most people are somewhat familiar and moderately familiar with the material, which is great. So I think this course will really complement your skill set. There's a few of you that self-rate as very familiar. And again, I think this course will give you new perspectives you probably haven't thought about before. And I also see some people who say that they are not familiar at all. And that's actually why we designed Module 1 to really start from the grounds up to explain the fundamentals of AI. So that if you don't have a background at all in AI, you can actually understand what we actually mean by AI and specifically generative AI. The course is actually structured into 6 modules. So among the 6 course modules, we have Module 1, which is the introduction to generative artificial intelligence. So what do we mean by generative artificial intelligence? And at the high level, how does it actually work? Module 2 is about understanding how generative AI can add value to our business, so we can identify opportunities of infusing generative AI into our organizations and business models. And Module 3 is about managing risks and ethical considerations, which is a hot topic both in the news and from my experience also from talking to lots of businesses. Module 4 is about identifying opportunities, a systematic methods of identifying opportunities in a people-centered way, so we can ensure people are actually leveraging generative AI to empower themselves. And module 5 is about delivering solutions, so figuring out how can we actually infuse AI and generate tangible plans for infusing AI into our organization. Module 6, which is the last module and the module I will also lead, is about future directions of AI. So there, for instance, we will talk about deployment. We will talk about this important concept of appropriation, the fact that successful systems have to be appropriated by people. So people have to be able to adopt systems, and these systems have to be flexible enough to allow people to achieve their goals in flexible and somewhat unpredictable ways. And we will also introduce methods for identifying what is on the horizon, so-called horizon scanning methods and technology forecasting methods, so we can sort of have an understanding of what is actually emerging in the research field and how it may or may not affect your business. Regarding assessment, you will need a minimum grade of 70% to pass the course. This is composed of participation, which is 40%. So you'll gain marks for active participation in various interactive activities and assignments throughout the course. And 60% is completion of a course product. So this course product involves creating a portfolio of work week on week related to each topic, so each module that we are discussing every week. And it culminates in a presentation in the final week. So this will include identifying a problem in a specific area or sector, which could be remedied by using AI technologies, and analysis of options and potential solutions, including considerations of risk and application specifications, a forecast of possible disruptions and updates that may affect your plan, and a clear rationale for the chosen solution. As this course is more focused on the application of generative AI within a business context, it is a versatile course open to people from a wide range of backgrounds. No matter your professional background, if you think generative AI can be helpful in elevating your business, this course is for you. You don't need deep technical knowledge to participate. The course is designed so anybody with a business background can understand what's going on at the technical level. And you can, for instance, participate and join if you're a senior leader or corporate executive, a founder, entrepreneur, innovation manager, technology manager, marketing manager, or just generally interested in generative AI for business, no matter what your role is. This list is not exhaustive, but it is indicative. During the first run of this course, which was this year in April 2024, we had people from a wide range of backgrounds that participated in the course, including managing directors, consultants, portfolio managers, content strategy experts, cloud migration specialists, and more. After you complete the course, you will have gained an appreciation of how generative AI can be implemented within your field or organization. Given the wide-ranging applications of this technology, this course can help you progress both horizontally and vertically in your career, from helping you to acquire a strategic role within your organization to triggering a switch or an intention to switch to a technical field. This course can be a layer on the or a foundation for your next step. In terms of what you can actually do, in terms of industry impact, we hope this course will empower you to propose and lead strategic and transformational projects to integrate the use of AI in your organization, leading to large-scale changes within your industry. In terms of skill advancement, this course will give you a comprehensive understanding at the high level of the core principles of generative AI technology. So we're not teaching you to be able to derive equations or write specific code for generative AI, but we do explain what is meant by AI and generative AI in particular. And you should be able to explain the differences between generative AI, large language models, so-called LLMs, what we mean by machine learning, neural networks, and other related concepts. I think even more importantly, you will learn and apply systematic methods and frameworks but allow it to think about opportunities and risks of AI in businesses in a very comprehensive way. And last but not least, there are networking opportunities. You will gain access to a global community of professionals and experts in AI for unparalleled career networking. Now, I would like to know, please, what you would like to achieve by taking this course. There is a new poll popping up, so please choose there if what you're looking for is professional development, career shift, starting your career, or lifelong learning. So it looks like most of you, 61%, are looking for professional development, and that is perfect because this course is designed to sort of complement a comprehensive academic educational background that you probably already have in, for instance, business, psychology, or a technical field. 13% are looking for a career shift, and I think this course could be good because it lets you know what is going on and what's available on the horizon and what are the opportunities out there. 25% are also interested in lifelong learning, which is, I think, a great motivation for taking a course such as this, to just understand like what is the potential and what is the risks and how do I actually go about using generative AI in my organization or in any organization really, or in everyday society. Okay, and now I will hand over to Madeline, who will talk about the learning design and experience.
Thanks, Per Ola. As Phil mentioned earlier, I'm a learning designer and I worked on this course alongside Per Ola and the other academics. So I'm going to just talk you through a little bit about the learning experience on this course and what you can expect. So the way we design our courses is we have the target market in mind, which is you guys, busy professionals. So we base all of our courses on up-to-date learning design methodology. And then this makes sure that you're going to always have a high quality learning experience, which is really rigorous and really up to date in terms of the subject matter as well. Our main focus is giving you transferable skills that you can use in your professional life, even now or in the next job that you're going for. So you do get a lot of theory, but it's also about how you apply that theory to a real work-life problem. So one of our fundamental strategies to ensure you learn as much as possible and that you're engaged with the course is our courses involve a lot of active learning. So that means that you're not sitting there reading page after page or watching really long lectures. We give you some small pieces of information and then we ask you to do something with them. So that might be a quiz, it might be a task. It's not a passive experience at all. And these really give you the chance to check your understanding as you go as well, rather than kind of waiting until the end of the course and realizing that there's some bits that you didn't understand or you need more help with. A key thing we also focus on is social learning. So we know that learning doesn't take place in a vacuum. It's an inherently social activity. And like you would have done, when you were at university or even when you were at school, you would have discussed things with a teacher, but also with each other. And we know you're coming to these courses with lots of really useful experience and insight from your industries. So we really draw on that and we give you lots of opportunities to interact together. So for example, we have discussion boards where you're asked a question and you share your insight, your experience. We also ask you to do tasks which you share on the discussion boards. And that means that you're getting feedback and you're giving feedback to your peers, as well as receiving some insight from the course tutor, who is an expert in the field and is there to support you along the way. We also have a tool called Canvas Inbox, which is monitored by a tutor. So if you have specific questions about the learning material or you need extra help, you can directly contact those experts in that way as well. So our courses are designed to be mostly self-paced, so you can work through that content at a time and a place that suits you. So hopefully that's going to give you as much opportunity as possible to complete the work when you are free, because we know that you're really busy. And your time is obviously really valuable. And every week we have a live session which takes place a bit like this on Zoom at a specified time, and that will be where you get to meet at the same time with Per Ola or one of the other academics or tutors and your classmates, and you get to clarify different things that you maybe need extra help with that have been in the materials for that module. You get to discuss things in more depth. You might even be given sort of a small task to do within the live session, which involves, perhaps working in a group and discussing things with your peers. So it's really nice. It's a really nice opportunity for you to connect in real time and not feel like you're just working through the materials on your own. We also record those live sessions every time and post a link to the video. So if you, for whatever reason, can't miss it or you want to review it again, then you can watch that video as many times as you like. So moving on to the way the course is delivered, we have a system called Canvas, which you can see here. So everything takes place within here. You can see all the different modules. This is actually for a different course, but the Generative AI course looks very, very similar. And you can see it's a mixture of text different discussions. We've also got, lots of imagery to help support you, and it's quite interactive. You can see you're kind of clicking here and listening to things, and it's not just, a case of lots of videos or lots of text. Here you can see there's a short quiz, which is asking you to check your understanding of what you just learnt. And you've got also various videos embedded, lots of reflective tasks as well that get you to kind of really think about what you've learned and how it applies to you. This is another example of a quiz, getting you to test your understanding. And here you can see we've another example of some imagery. If we scroll down, this one is there's a video there as well, and that there's also here there's a discussion as well. And this is an example of an interactive image where you can click on those pluses and get more information. So throughout, it's quite varied. It's very interactive, and it's giving you loads of opportunities to test what you have learned and then identify what you need to work on further. Another feature of Canvas is that you have a learner profile. So when you are set up on the system, you can go in and you can add a profile picture. You can add a short bio to kind of let everyone know, your background, what you're interested in for the course, what your role is in at the moment, and perhaps why you're doing the course. So that really helps you to get to know each other. And then hopefully even after the course, you can stay connected with your peers and keep learning beyond the 6 weeks of the course. So I noticed there's a couple of questions, but we'll take them at the end. So for now, I'm going to just pass back to Phil. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madeline, and thank you to Per Ola as well. Just a quick note, if you do have any questions, if you can pop those into the Q&A box, it'll really help us to go through them in an order at the end in just a few minutes. I noticed a couple going in the chat, but if you can pop them in the Q&A box, that'll be really helpful for us. So now we've got all this information, what are the next steps? Well, I'd love to connect with anybody who does have any further questions or wants to dive deeper into the contents of what was covered today. You can contact me via email, which you'll find on the screen now, or do visit our website. There's an opportunity there to book a call with us, or you can also find a little bit more information on the course as well. Our next course, well, it's due to start on the 15th of July. We will have a future date this year in October as well. So do get in touch and let us know if there's any other questions. And now, as I mentioned, if you haven't already, please do post some questions in the Q&A section and we'll be able to answer them live for you now. I will pop into the chat quickly and just cover a couple of questions that have been posted on there. So let's have a look. So first question, what sort of tools, programming, etc., knowledge is required for this course? Per Ola, would you mind touching on that one, if that's okay?
Sure. So this course is designed that you don't actually have to have any technical background in terms of like programming or writing Python scripts or using specific tools. So we do use tools, for instance, the online system and the Miro board as part of the course. And there are also modules that will signpost suggestions for external tools to play around with to experience generative AI firsthand. But it doesn't require any technical programming ability.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Per Ola. Question here, just in terms of dates, I suppose, and when we run the course. Question about the next cohort in 2025. So it's worth mentioning that all of our courses do get repeated quarterly. So we always have a winter, a spring, a summer, and an autumn course run. So currently we're enrolling for the July course, which will start on the 15th of July. Next course will start on the 7th of October, and then we'll usually have a January and April date in 2025 as well to look forward to. So be aware of the dates as they get released on the website, or do reach out if you need any further details on those ones. Another question just around requirements, perhaps just to elaborate on. So the course requirement says that a degree in quantitative thinking would be beneficial. Unfortunately, I don't have a degree in quantitative thinking, so do you think the course is for cohorts like me?
So, okay, let me explain what we mean by quantitative thinking. So by quantitative thinking, we mean that you have some training in thinking about mathematics in terms of algebra, right? Like variables, but we don't require you to, be able to differentiate or integrate or something like that. So linear equations and so on and so forth. So I'm going to give some very concrete degree examples that I think are perfectly suitable backgrounds for this course. a bachelor's, for instance, in design, a bachelor's in psychology, a bachelor's in business, accounting, law, and so on are all degrees that have sufficient amount of quantitative thinking for people, for learners to appreciate this course.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think really key, and a few questions that are popping up here quite a lot in terms of prerequisites and expertise. I think in terms of this course, it's important to point out that there are no deep technical expertise that are required. This is very much on a business focus, and it will really help anybody who's looking to get a better understanding of generative AI and how that can be applied within a business context. So there's no formal entry requirements for our courses, so there's no formal application process. It is open to anyone, so it is really about suitability. And if you need any more information, do reach out to us, and we'll be happy to provide that. I think a question here, and perhaps worth just getting a little deeper into is the assessment. So are we able to do actual projects as part of the interactive learning? Per Ola, would you like to touch on that? And
yeah, so that's a great question, Philip. Thank you. And absolutely. So the way we are doing it is that there's a formal assessment at every module where you will be guided by a tutor. And this assessment at every module will gradually build up to a presentation. And the idea is that this presentation then is of a quality that you ideally can present it to your superior, or you can go to a venture capitalist or something like that, right? So there is like a concrete output from this course that basically demonstrates that you have the ability to use the material we've been teaching, but also that allows you to demonstrate the application of this material to a very concrete use case. So you can have your own use case there. In fact, this is encouraged, right? So you can actually apply the learnings here to something that is actually on your mind or something your organization is considering, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. And perhaps just to build on that question, are there any real world case studies in the course to help identify opportunities?
Yeah, so that's another great question, actually, because indeed, so Henry, for instance, who's teaching, believe it is module 2 and 3, he has we all have industry expertise and we work with industry, but he in particular I'm singling out because he has a lot of experience with AI risks, and in fact is very active in the deep fake research and what's happening on that front. And those kind of modules are definitely heavily inspired by several case studies. And we also have case studies in Jonathan Cullen's modules 4 and 5, when he talks about people-centric design and how to identify opportunities in a people-centered organization and how to actually deploy solutions that people are likely to use. So yes, we do infuse case studies throughout the course. Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just scrolling through the questions here, quite a few around perhaps the flexibility and how the course runs, and happy to answer those. So in terms of time commitment on a weekly basis, we tend to recommend somewhere between 6 to 8 hours in terms of the time you'll need. That is very much in your control. We don't mandatorily require anybody to be online at any specific time. However, as mentioned earlier, we do offer a 1-hour live session each week. So a total of 6 live sessions, each 1 hour, that will be run towards the end of each week's learning, that you'll be able to attend. Those sessions are recorded, that you don't have to attend them. It's obviously a great opportunity to do so, but if you do miss them, there will be a recorded video that you can catch up on, and a tutor available throughout, so you can always reach out with any questions or any support that you need. So lots of flexibility in there to help you manage other priorities and commitments, but lots of opportunities still to get involved with interactivities if you wish to. So really, really useful. Any questions further on that, do let us know. In terms of those live sessions, they are scheduled ahead of each course run. So if you're interested in a particular date, then please let us know. Just a quick through, lots of questions coming in, so please bear with me as I filter through those. What kind of technical support is available for students who might face challenges with the course tools and technologies? Madeline, perhaps you can just touch on terms of the learning design, the support that's in place.
Yes, so we've got kind of two areas really. Your tutor is your first point of contact, and you can contact them via the Canvas inbox that I mentioned, and you'll get a reply quite quickly from them. And then they will kind of escalate that as needed. So they'll be able to offer they'll be able to solve most of the issues that you might have. But if it's something more complex, then we have a whole technical team that can support with that as well. At the beginning of the course, we have what's called an orientation module, and that introduces you to the platform. It shows you all the tools that we're going to use, and you get that. You can do that a week before the course starts. So by the time you actually start the learning content, you should already be really familiar with the platform, know where to get help, and know what's expected of you. So we'd suggest that you do that, and you can refer back to that as well at any point during the course, you know, if something comes up as you're working through the content.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, still lots of questions coming through, so please bear with me. Do you have case studies of implementing AI in business? This might touch on a question we've answered already, but what are the outcomes of the students who have attended this course? E.g., do they change jobs working in the AI field? I suppose just to touch, and this answers perhaps another question in terms of how recent the material is that we've put together. This is a fairly new course. July will be the second course run coming up. So all materials are very fresh at this stage, very up to date and very new. In terms of how we continue to keep them up to date, courses are reviewed on a regular basis, and new material, new research is entered to keep you kind of up to date with what's going on. In terms of past students, we have one cohort that's currently completed the course, but as we kind of covered a little earlier on in terms of their kind of motive to take the course, a lot of them are about sort of advancing their careers. But I suppose that, Per Ola, perhaps you could help with giving a kind of an idea of where this course could take you, and the opportunities that could open up after learning the material from this course.
Absolutely, Philip. So to be clear, you're not going to be a machine learning or AI expert in developing AI technology from this course. It's about figuring out how to apply the opportunities that AI gives you, in particular generative AI, into an organizational context to unlock opportunities. And that is in my experience, actually, both in academia, but also increasingly when I talk to venture capitalists and firms, where people are actually caring about AI now, like how do we actually apply it to actually solve problems and unlock opportunities. And in terms of, so that is definitely useful for advancing people's career within organizations. So all organizations are looking into this, in my experience. In terms of like up to date, there are two things there. I mean, technology moves very, very quickly. That is true. Humans evolve very, very slowly over the scale of millions of years. So a lot of things that are actually ultimately people-centered. So a lot of these systematic methods that are taught, and and the case study approach that in particular Henry is using, is teaching you things that is likely going to stay current for a very long time. So to give you an indication, there are still research out from the 1980s, 1990s, and still frameworks of research and principles and so on that are actually relevant as of today. So I think the fundamental in the web system is designed to basically give you lasting knowledge that you can use for decades. Then we use the live sessions as an opportunity to inject the very state of the art, right? Because the state of the art in terms of what we can do with generative AI, as I'm sure most of you are aware, changes on a weekly basis. So the live session is a way to sort of relate to what is actually happening in the world at this current point in time. But I think the design methods, they have a longer shelf life than that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Per Ola. A question here that would be good to tackle. So yes, there are many courses like this out there, and a question here about what makes this one different, especially as we've only run it just the once before. So happy to kind of just confirm in terms of our established running of courses. We've now been running for a little over 3 years, still quite a new department within the university. However, feedback and the learning design is now well established and working very well. In terms of what makes us different, well, the University of Cambridge, the academics, the input, the opportunity to connect with others, and everything that we've put together is probably the bit that makes us stand apart. But certainly, Per Ola, is there anything else you think that would be particularly special about this course that makes us stand apart?
I think one thing that makes it stand apart is actually the tutor support. So it's tentative, but it's probably going to be the same tutor actually leading the generative AI next course run as the previous run. This is somebody, if that is the same person, this is somebody with a PhD with really in-depth know-how, who is actually interacting with the learners in the web system. And people can ask quite deep technical questions and actually get sensible answers back. In my experience, this is quite unusual when it comes to online course offerings. And also, I think the depth of what we are asking people to do. So you have to apply knowledge to actually learn, right? So I think the amount that we do is not just input, right? It's your output as well, right? You are working with the materials. So I think that in combination with all the things Philip said, kind of makes this, I think, a very compelling offer, actually.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. A question here, but perhaps is worth confirming. We've kind of looked at prerequisites, but in terms of the content of the course, will we learn how to build custom generative AI models from scratch, including architecture design for neural networks?
Well, that's a good question. So no, this is not that kind of course. This is a course about understanding the opportunities of using generative AI. We are not teaching people how to build generative AI. So there's no coding or neural network architecture or post processing or front-end engineering and so on. It's not that type of course.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. It's worth just confirming that one and making that clear. A question here, can you explain a little bit more how this program can directly help entrepreneurs? Can you give any examples of how this can be a benefit?
I think it can benefit everybody interested in business. For entrepreneurs, I guess one of the big challenges is asking the right questions, right, and understanding the problem. And as people know from all the research in design cognition, right, you can't just jump to a solution. That's called a solutionist perspective. But when you approach the solution, you also gain an increased understanding of the problem. And this is something that Jonathan talks about in modules 4 and 5, right? How do we actually understand what the problem is? How do we identify all the stakeholders? How do we know what's going on in an organization so we can unlock opportunities of infusing generative AI? In my experience, most enterprise projects or commercial ideas fail because they tend to ask the wrong problems, right? We tend to ask the wrong questions and therefore solve the wrong problem. So understanding the problem is incredibly important. And that means sort of viewing things as a systems problem. So everything is interconnected and coupled. And this course, I think, has a nice perspective on that. So these sort of design methods that teach you to be systematic. It may sound easy, but it's actually surprisingly difficult, for instance, to do simple things as like identifying what are the relevant stakeholders. What do I mean by my system? What is the boundary of my system? It's not the entire universe, but it's also not just the algorithm I'm working with. For instance, you have the data, you have the people who have to be responsible and use it and so on and so forth. So this kind of holistic thinking is easy to talk about, but it's difficult to do things in practice. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I think this course sort of answers that question, what am I supposed to do, by introducing these sort of systematic methods that you can apply.
Yeah, really good point. A question here that happy to answer. So will we have access to the online course content after completion of the course? A really good question and something we're really keen to ensure that people have is continued access in some form. So the course runs for 6 weeks. At the end of the course, there will be the opportunity to still log into the platform for another 6 weeks on a read-only basis. So you'll still be able to go in and revisit the materials and resources that were available to you. But what we've also done is created a digital resource pack that you're able to download and keep for life. So you can always have something to go back to in terms of a list of the resources and materials and useful links and things to ensure that you have that to keep. So yeah, certainly lots of questions still coming through. So apologies if I'm just trying to keep up. A question here about specifically a degree background that I know we touched on a little bit earlier, but perhaps we can answer. So I have a degree in social sciences and have also studied macroeconomics. How do you think this course and my background would complement each other?
So you definitely have the level of quantitative thinking that you can benefit from the course from that point of view. I would say what you probably haven't been taught is what are the things generative AI can do for you? What are the risks? And also, you probably haven't been taught systematic design methods, which are really important for actually not just identifying the opportunities, but to actually figuring out like how can we actually deliver solutions that are likely to be adopted by users.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, lots of questions still coming through. I think we're starting to run out of time, so perhaps just on a final one, a question here around the course material. So how is the course material structured between theory and practice? Per Ola, perhaps you could answer that, and Madeline, anything that you'd like to add as well.
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think actually doing these sort of courses with, I mean, I've been teaching for a long time, but doing these courses with Cambridge Advanced Online has, believe it or not, this has actually taught me something about how to teach. Because they have this mantra, the learning designer. So Madeline is a learning designer for Cambridge Advanced Online. But everything we explain in the web system should be actionable, right? So we should do something with it, right? It's not just knowledge, but it's just knowledge on a web page. We will do something with it. That would be a quiz. That would be some way of reflecting on the material, or it will form part of an exercise. So everything that is in the system is actually actively used. And I think that's a really important point. And the other thing is we try to do a mix of theory and practice. So first of all, everything is practice by definition because of this mantra that we want to apply everything that we're teaching in the web system. But I think we also, Jonathan and Henry and I, have tried to strike a balance here, like introducing case studies and so on, but also introducing principles, right, and frameworks and actionable things. So these come from theory, but they are useless theory unless we tell you how to actually apply them to your problems. So I think this mantra of Cambridge Advanced Online, that everything we show you, you're actually using, is really the answer to this question.
Yeah, if you have a look at the list of learning objectives as well for the course, which I think are in the brochure, you'll see that none of them are just things like, I want you to understand something. They're all practical, actionable things. So you can actually do something. But obviously being able to do requires a certain level of knowledge as well. So you get the knowledge and then you take that knowledge and you apply it. So we're not going to ever ask you to, for example, write a long essay about something, because you wouldn't be doing that in your job. Instead, we would ask you to demonstrate that you've learned something by doing a task and in your final assessment as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thank you both. So I think time is running out, so I'm really sorry for anybody that we haven't managed to answer your question today. A big thank you for joining today's session. We will endeavour to get back to you on any questions or topics that we haven't been able to address. As a reminder, there will be a short survey when you exit the webinar, which will give you the opportunity to ask a question if you haven't already. Please do take a couple of moments to provide us with some feedback. Look out for a follow-up email later this week in which we'll share the recording of the webinar and some other useful links that have been mentioned today. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you to Madeline and Per Ola, and have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you so much.